Let us now see some few more properties on the normed spaces. So earlier we have studied about the complex plane partitioned into two sets. One is known as the spectrum set. Another one is known as the resolvent set. Right? So now what we are saying that the spectrum set defined over here is again partitioned into three sets. One is known as the point spectrum, one is known as the continuous spectrum, and one is known as the residual spectrum. And the notations for these three, they are sigma pt, sigma ct, and sigma rho t. So T represents all these sets. They are defined for the operator T. P represents the point for point spectrum. C represents for continuous in the continuous spectrum, and R represents the residual in the residual spectrum. So what are these sets and how we can define them? Let's have a look. So here we are saying point spectrum, which is also known as discrete spectrum. It is the set consisting of all those lambdas such that R lambda t does not exist. So all those lambdas for which we cannot define that resolvent operator. So in that case, the lambda is the which is the spectral value is nothing but the eigenvalue. So for an eigenvalue, you cannot define the inverse operator of the operator t lambda, right? You cannot define the resolvent operator. Next, let us discuss the continuous spectrum. For this spectrum, we are talking about all those lambdas which are present in continuous spectrum. For them, R lambda t exists. Now the inverse operator exists. However, the property R3 is also satisfied, but R lambda t is unbounded. So that means here the second property is not satisfied, right? So here in this case we are saying the property R1 is satisfied, the property R3 is satisfied, however the property R2 is not satisfied. Now R1 says the resolvent exists, R3 says it is defined on a set which is dense in X, and R3 says R2 says the operator R lambda, the resolvent operator, that is unbounded. That is bounded, but here in this case it is unbounded. So therefore we say that for this continuous spectrum the property R2 does not exist. Next, for residual spectrum, so this spectrum consists of all those lambdas, all those values, spectral values, such that the first property where this resolvent exists holds. The second property may or may not hold in this case, right? So we are not sure for this case. But however, the third property, the domain of the resolvent operator, that is not dense in X. This is sure. So that means we are saying first property hold here. For second property we are doubtful. We cannot say anything precisely. And for the third property, that does not hold in this particular case. So if all these conditions happen simultaneously, then whatever is the lambda, that spectral value lie particularly in the residual spectrum. So all these properties are listed here in this table. So we are saying the spectral, the complex number lambda that belongs to the resolvent set rho of t, whenever all the three properties are satisfied. It belongs to the point spectrum whenever only the first property is not satisfied. However, we cannot say anything about second and third. Basically they are meaningless here, because if the first property, if the resolvent is not does not exist here, how can you say about the boundedness and being dense in X, right? So here the first property does not satisfy. In that case, lambda belongs to the point spectrum. For lambda to belong to the continuous spectrum, the property R2 should not satisfy. However, the property R1 and R3 both satisfy in this case. For the third case, when your lambda belong to the residual spectrum, so that means the property third is not satisfied, however the property first is satisfied. We cannot say anything about property 2. So, having understood all these, we say that we have constructed these 4 sets. One is resolvent set, one is point spectrum set, one is continuous spectrum, and one is residual spectrum. So all of these, they are disjoint and their union is the whole complex plane. So basically, earlier we have just partitioned the complex plane into 2 sets. One was the resolvent set, another one was the spectral set. Now we have partitioned them into 4 sets. So this is the partition, and you may also have a look here to have a better understanding. Okay, next let us move on to see some more properties related to this. So we say if the resolvent operator R lambda that exists, so in that case it has to be linear. Why? Because your operator T was also linear. Another property is that if you see what was your T lambda was T minus lambda I, and it was defined from the domain of T to the range of T. So the inverse operator T lambda inverse, which is nothing but R lambda, that would be defined from R range of T to the domain of T. So that is what we are writing here. R lambda T taken from the range of T to the domain of T, that exists if and only if T lambda x is equal to 0 implies x is equal to 0. So you see the operator exists if and only if. So that means if this operator exists, so that means T lambda x 0 implies x is equal to 0. And if T lambda x is equal to 0 implies x is equal to 0, that means R lambda T exists. Next property we have, because we have defined T lambda x by this, and they are saying if this thing is equal to 0 for some x which is not 0, if this happens for something, then we will say that lambda would belong to the point spectrum. Lambda in that case would belong to point spectrum. So by definition, this lambda point spectrum means whenever any spectral value goes into the point spectrum, so that means the resolvent is not defined over there, and moreover this lambda is the eigenvalue of T. Here this definition is nothing but the converse of this. So that means we are saying this condition does not hold, so that means the operator, resolvent operator does not exist, and it does not exist for the point spectrum. So that means that particular lambda would belong to the point spectrum, and if any lambda belong to point spectrum, so that is an eigenvalue. Moreover, this vector is the eigenvector corresponding to the same lambda, same eigenvalue, and moreover all the vectors which corresponding all the eigenvectors corresponding to the same eigenvalue together with the 0 vector, they form the eigenspace of the operator T corresponding to the same eigenvalue. Okay, the next property here is that the spectrum of linear operator on a finite dimensional space is a pure point spectrum. So that means we are saying any lambda belonging to sigma pt. So that means we are saying the spectral value lambda belonging to this pure point spectrum, that implies that lambda is an eigenvalue. For this particular lambda, we are saying the continuous spectrum and the residual spectrum, both of them are empty. For this happens only when we are taking an operator which is defined on the finite dimensional space. But what about the infinite dimensional space? So there is a question that can we say for infinite dimensional spaces the operator T have spectral values which are not eigenvalues? Well, this is a very good question. If you might ponder, the answer to this is yes. There are spaces, there are spectral values of the operator T defined on infinite dimensional spaces which are not eigenvalues. So let's try and see how this works through an example. So we have this example where the operator T is defined on L2 to L2. Now what is L2? L2 is the Hilbert sequence space. This is, you might have studied this in the basic course on functional analysis. So here this is defined as some element X has been taken from L2, then T is defined on it, so that it is shifting all the elements one step to the right. So that means the first entry would be 0, then the second entry would be the first entry here, the third entry would be the second entry here, and so on. So this vector has been shifted 1 unit to the right. So we also say this operator to be the right shift operator, right? So for this operator here, for this right shift operator here, we are defining another operator which is ROT, which is the inverse of this operator. So this is the left shift operator. So what would be the inverse of this? If that is shifting it to the right, its inverse would be the operator which is shifting all the elements and the vectors to the 1 unit to the left. So we define that by, if you input the vector xi1, xi2, xi3 and so on, so as output you will get this vector shifted 1 unit to the left. So that means you will have the vector as xi2 starting from xi2 and then moving on further, xi3, xi4 and so on. So that means this element is now missing from here. So here the property R1 is satisfied. Why? Because we have defined the inverse operator. So this inverse operator, that is nothing but the resolvent for the given operator T, right? So if this is the resolvent operator, so we say the resolvent operator exists, so therefore R1 is satisfied. Moreover, the property R3 is not satisfied because the operator Tx, that is not dense in X. You may check that. So we say because R1 is satisfied and R3 is satisfied, so we are where? We are in the residual spectrum, right? So we are in R1 is satisfied, R3 is not satisfied, so we are here in the residual spectrum. So corresponding to this, we say that lambda is equal to 0 is a spectral value. So this is the spectral value. So in the example, we are to find those values, those spectral values which are not eigenvalues. So we have to show here that this lambda is not the eigenvalue. So for that, by definition of eigenvalue, if you have Tx is equal to 0x, because we are saying about lambda is equal to 0, right? Tx is equal to lambda x, lambda is 0, so you have this thing, and then you substitute the operator x. So 0 into something is 0, right? You substitute the value of x, then you have it equal to 0. So in effect, this x is nothing but 0. So by definition, you have the eigenvectors as all the values, all the non-zero values, such that this equation is satisfied. But however, our x came out to be 0 here. So therefore, this obviously cannot be the eigenvector corresponding to this eigenvalue. So therefore, this is not the eigenvalue, right? So we found and saw this example where for an infinite dimensional space, the spectral value exists, but that spectral value is not an eigenvalue. Okay, now let us move on to some more properties related to this resolvent operator. So you might have studied about the bounded inverse problem in the basic course. So based on that, we have the result which says that the operator T defined on x to x, which is some normed space, that operator is bounded and linear. This is given to us, and the space in itself is complete. Then for some complex number lambda, we define the resolvent, and that resolvent exists and it is defined on whole of the space. This is given by the result because of the properties of T, which is boundedness and linearity, and the property of space, the completeness property. We say that resolvent exists, and this resolvent is defined on whole of the space, and for that particular lambda, the resolvent operator is also bounded. What is the resolvent operator? Which is R lambda T, which is nothing but the inverse of this T lambda, right? So T minus lambda I inverse. So this operator is also bounded. So this is a very powerful result. And last we have a lemma which says that domain of R lambda is defined like this: if X is some complex Banach space and T is a linear operator defined on this Banach space, then the lambda belongs to the resolvent set. This is also the assumption that lambda is coming from the resolvent set, so that means this lambda is a regular value. Moreover, we are assuming that the operator T is closed and it is bounded. Then we say that R lambda T is defined on whole of the space and it is bounded.